a matter of personal pride. And from the looks of Chicago King when they were coming out in their introductions, most all of the young men are loose.
Why, sure. This ball game is going to be played for the sheer pleasure of playing the game of basketball. And although there's some lackadaisical movement as they come around the center circle, once the ball goes up and once you get in somebody's face, you're going to see excitement. And you're going to see a lot of offensive things. You always do in the third-place game, Jim.
Chicago King won state in 1986, finished second in 1987, and will finish third or fourth in 1989. The Rocks fourth last year. Let's see if they have back-to-back fours or they can pull off what many would consider to be an upset and finish third here in the 1989 Elite Eight. Ball tipped out as Donnie White comes up with the first turnover of the game.
That was a box-and-one defense that Rock Island put on Jamie Brandon right away.
Pulliam with the first shot of the game, way off the mark, and he was boxed out. I should say Brian Jones was boxed out nicely there by Damian Porter, but the Rocks get the offensive rebound and they'll kick it up. Chris Allison.
He's the traffic cop for Rock Island. Orchestrates everything offensively for them. Of course, King's out in man-to-man defense.
Jones puts a move on the baseline, and Damian Porter picks up the first personal of the evening.
So it's interesting to see, Jim, right away that Duncan Reed feels like he has to keep the ball out of the hands of Jamie Brandon. He comes out in the box and one, and King comes out in a man-to-man, something they don't play that often.
Pulliam will inbound underneath. Tony Pulliam, only a sophomore. Here's Donnie White, a junior. Here's a jumper that won't go. High for the rebound is Johnny Selvey. Victor Snipes wears number 25.
Pick up that box defense. You've got Tony Pulliam man for man on Brandon.
Sharif goes inside, almost lost there. And now a long jumper is not there by Sharif, but the rebound belongs to Snipes, who gets it underneath and finally put back up and in by Johnny Selvey. Here come the Rocks. Allison loses it and touched it last. For Chicago King, Victor Snipes, Samad Sharif, Damian Porter, Jamie Brandon, and Johnny Selvey. As we mentioned, Brandon with 82 points.
We've really been impressed with Snipes' defense, haven't we not, Jim? Really a quick kid and intense defensive ball play.
Fred Schofield getting set to check in for Coach Sonny Cox. Down low, Porter misses the jumper. Jones can't get the rebound because Selvey is there. Picking up the foul is McGahee.
Really going two big offensive rebounds for Johnny Selvey. Converted one, and on that one he was fouled.
Crowd still filing in here at the Assembly Hall in anticipation of history. Can East St. Louis Lincoln win 3 in a row? Can Peoria Central get it done and go 33-0 for the campaign? Selvey at the free throw line, in and out. Sonny Cox still coaching, telling Victor Snipes to relay a message to one of his mates.
Championship game coming up, one way or the other. History is going to be made, Jim.
3-0 Chicago King in the early going. We played just over a minute and a half here. McGahee against the full court pressure as Donnie White breaks it up ahead to Allison. Allison will not slow. Allison will dump it off to Jones, and hitting the deck and ending up in the first row was Victor Snipes. Ball went out of bounds, last touch by Rock Island.
Brian Jones should have been a little bit more alert to what Chris Allison had to do, and that was to dump off as he drew a crowd on his drive, because he's not going to get that layup shot off, and that's Denver.
Snipes against the zone, goes inside. McGahee gets the steal. Here's Allison. Up ahead to White. The race is on, and won by Donnie White. White had 15 this afternoon in that losing effort against Peoria Central. And to quote Duncan Reed after the ball game, quote, "I was very happy with our effort. I'm not much on moral victories. No competitor is, but I felt we gave it a very good effort today. The game plan was what we had to use. We wanted to go into the last 5 minutes, preferably 4 or 5 up, but not more than 5 down. We were down by 6, end of quote."
And his defensive game plan right here is man for man on Jamie Brandon, while the other 4 Rocks play a box zone defense.
Schofield with a jumper and nothing but the bottom of the well. Schofield, another one of Sonny Cox's juniors. Allison Breaks the pressure all by his lonesome. I like the way he dribbles. He always uses his other hand as almost a balance.
Stays so low. That time he got called for a 5-second closely guarded violation. Repeat that. If you're closely guarded for 5 seconds while dribbling, you're going to lose possession. Or if you're closely guarded and not dribbling, you can be dribbling, get the count up to 4, pick the ball up, and the count starts over again.
Tommy Cunningham in the ball game now as Victor Snipes grabs a seat. I think Snipes cut his knee, and that's exactly what happened. He's being tended to on the bench. Sharif now down low to the man, Selvey, and he is going to be called for traveling.
Some other people are going to have to figure in the scoring for King early here, as long as the Rocks stay in that box-and-one defense, and Selvey may very well be the person who figures in, just stepping into the middle of the lane there.
The key to that loss this afternoon, or one of them, Selvey, only 6 points. Chris Allison fakes, gets it into Jones, who loses the handle, and here comes Sharif and the Jaguars. Jamie Brandon. Donnie Weiss behind him, can't catch up to him, ball loose. Up and no good, but a foul as Johnny Selvey. He's not to be denied. If he does anything wrong that I've noticed during the tournament, sometimes he'll take that quick bounce when you throw it inside to him. He'll put it on the floor that one time, and most coaches prefer not to do that if you can help.
Jamie Brandon was on the full court, and he had a good pass inside. He drew some attention and dumped down into Johnny Selvey. And as I said earlier, you know, as long as Jamie's going to get the attention of the man-for-man coverage, and the others are going to be in that box zone defense, Johnny Selvey could have a picnic if he'll just step into the lane and receive the basketball from his teammates.
6-2 now, as the 6'6", 210-pound junior from Chicago King converts on both. Rocks down by 5, and their offense has to pick it up. Pulliam travels.
Both these ball clubs have an excellent nucleus upon which to build for next year's club, the 89-90 season, and you know, very likely you could see both return to the Elite Eight.
And speaking of promise, you know, there's talk around the East St. Louis area now with Assumption closing the Class A school, and a couple athletes, and I do mean athletes from that school, might join Benny Lewis and company, and another reloading number.
Yeah, could very well happen. They've got to go to school someplace, and certainly they've got 2 choices now.
That was good defense the last time down the floor by Cunningham, who may have caused that travel by Pulliam. Selvey inside. The interior pass to Cunningham had a little too much on it.
Thank you, sir.
Rock Island Rocks made a quick change there. Jack Anderson came in and Pulliam came out just to get a brief line from Duncan Reed about what he wants done, and then Pulliam came right back in the game. Allison with a long pass to break the press, and White stayed in bounds. White to Jones. Yeah.
Jones can shoot that perimeter shot. We've seen him do it for a couple of years now.
Rocks to within 3. We have 3:42 remaining here in the first quarter. Jamal Breck, Mel Ruscio, and standing by Frank Tassoni with that championship game. Jamie Brandon can't get the roll. Tipped up and in. Give it to Cunningham.
Cunningham did good timing on the offensive board.
And a foul in the backcourt on Ahmad Sharif.
I mean, Ahmad Rashad sooner or later.
Yeah, we had a bird in this tournament.
All right, we had a Donnie Allison instead of a Chris.
There you see a few members of the Barrington Pep Band. Didn't look like they had a lot of pep in that shot.
We're waiting for the big one.
That's right. Everybody's just kind of kicked back here. 9-4 our score. King up in front. The Rocks trying to make something happen here. Allison off the pick. Can he get there? No, he can't. But I think we'll have goaltending call.
Got it. It's a little clear-out maneuver for Chris Allison. Double high post set. You'll check it out right here. Double high post set, and Allison just drives around that. Of course, gets the ball up on the glass, and you get a touch on the ball while it's above the cylinder of the rim. And that's goaltending.
We've seen Sharif's leaping ability, and another example right there. Cunningham in the paint. Not this time. Ball comes out hard, and we've got a whistle underneath and a foul against Rock Island. It looks like Shane McGahee was in the vicinity. Let's see if that's the man they'll call. That's who it is. McGahee only a junior. This is the year of the junior down here. I mean, if somebody was walking through the stands and yelled, "Hey, junior," to their kid, about 20 people would turn around. Down low it goes. And it won't count because it came out as Selvey couldn't get it to fall. I don't know how it came out of there, but we've got another whistle and a foul. And to the free throw line will go Johnny Selvey as Lamont Wortham gets set to check in for Duncan Reed's Rocks. How did this come out, Coach?
Johnny Selvey catches so well, as you pointed out earlier, Jim. And in that situation, he looked like he almost could stop the ball. Didn't get it to go for him, but he was fouled by Brian Jones, and will try to convert a couple of free throws here. Selvey's very active in the early going of this third-place game.
Selvey has about 20 pounds on Jones, and he uses that to his advantage when he goes baseline.
Very strongly built athlete, Johnny Selvey.
King's free throw shooting really hurt them this afternoon against East St. Louis Lincoln. Timeout on the floor as King has a 4-point lead in the Consolation game. Here now is a message from one of your network sponsors, John Deere. There you see some of the folks who have assembled at Assembly Hall.
So Rock Island fans, you know they're in anticipation. They're the Rocks getting third place if possible.
I would like to have the statistic on how many teams who play the last game on Friday end up winning the state championship, because you would have to win 3 games within about 25 hours. Not an easy task, but it can be done. And now the ball goes out of bounds as Schofield tried to save it, couldn't get it done. The Rocks in a hurry on the way up court that time.
With the bevy of statistics the IHSA keeps, I'm sure you could get that.
How many coaches named Mel Rustio at Jacksonville?
Only one.
I knew we'd come up with that one. Chris Allison out front.
One too many for some folks.
Well, Coach, you know, if you can't live with critics, you just can't live, can you? Allison looking for a pick from McGahee. He finally gets it, but Selvey jumps out on it. And now traveling out front on Donnie White, who looks at his feet as if they abandoned him. Donnie White's going to be back. He's a good-looking player, averaging 16 points for Rock Island. And he plays within Duncan Reed's game plan.
Right. Rock Island is very well coached and disciplined offensively when they're going against the man-to-man defense. And the box and one, Jim.
That was exemplified this afternoon. Not all kids want to do what Duncan Reed made his team do this afternoon. He knew that Peoria Central had the talent edge, so they had to slow down and play a predestined plan. And it's not all that fun sometimes, but that's what a good coach team can do.
Well, the good coach team or the well-coached team has to take what do we need to do to win? And that's where it begins. And then you have to have the coachable youngsters that will accept the game plan and go out and execute it. It's not always the way you want to play the game, but it's the way you must play the game.
Well, King turned it over down there, and Pulliam better hurry. He's in trouble. He bounces it off someone's foot, but it didn't go out of bounds. Here comes Brandon. Brandon stops, puts it up and in. Pulliam got in trouble down here in the corner with the corner trap. Nobody came back to help him, and now King leads at 12-6. Allison the other way, dishes to Wortham, who needs it and gets it. Lamont Wortham.
Again, that play was created by a penetrating Chris Allison, who found Lamont Wortham free on the baseline for the jumper.
Victor Snipes will check back in for Chicago King.
He wanted to check in with you, didn't he, Jim?
Yeah, he did. Would have been okay with me. Brandon up and not there this time. Rebound fought for, knocked out of bounds. Donnie White saves it, but to Sharif for King. Brandon, whoa, nice pass, but we've got contact and a foul on McGahee.
The old controversial block charge foul. You'll see it here on the replay. Here's Jamie Brandon driving the lane. McGahee steps in. The question is, was he there? Get another look at it from a different angle. Here's Brandon. McGahee moves over. He's not set, folks. He's still moving the upper torso in the path of Jamie Brandon. You have to be set.
Right now, Mr. McGahee will be moving to the bench because he has 3 personal fouls. Now Ed Vesey will enter the game for Rock Island wearing number 34. That's another thing about the third place game.
Play a lot of kids.
A
lot of kids getting a state tournament in this situation and may not have gotten into it if their team is in the championship game.
A brief shot there of Shane McGahee, he'll be back. Rocks are loaded. I mentioned this yesterday. Their sophomore team hasn't lost in 50 games. They're impressive. I've seen them play. Brandon gets the throws.
Rocks are loaded, and the Jacksonville Crimsons travel up there next year. In fact, I got to say this, we played 3 of the teams that are in the Final Four this year, and very happy to be able to say that.
You're going to be in town next year? You're coming up to town? I'll have the wife cook some beans and weenies for us.
All right, that sounds good. Sounds good. Maybe before the game, I may need nourishment.
Yeah, you'll be in for it, I'll tell you. It's a nice place to play basketball. The Rock's got a great gym and a great booster program. A lot of sports fans up in the Quad City area. Pulliam driving to the hole, dumps it off to Wortham, who gets it to fall. So the Rocks hang into this thing, 14-10. King up by 4. We have 48 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
Both Allison and Pulliam penetrating and dumping off once they're picked up, creating some offense for Rock Island.
Sonny King, or I should say Sonny Cox, says, "Move it, Jamie," and he does, but he can't get it to fall. BC hands it off to Allison, and now the Rocks will play for 1. Allison tells Pulliam to come on up and help out. They're going to try to spring Allison on one of the wings. Almost a steal out front by Brandon. Pulliam dumps it off. BC jumper. Got it. And BC comes into the ball game and makes his presence felt. Sharif, it'll count if it goes, but it doesn't, and we are at the end of 1 quarter of play in the consolation game, and things are warming up. It's Chicago King 14, Rock Island 12. Now this from one of your network sponsors, the Illinois Pork Producers. It's not often teams bring hardware home back-to-back, but that is what Rock Island will do. Chicago King trying to bring home yet another second-place trophy. That would be their second in 3 years, and after winning it in 1986. Field goal shooting in the first quarter of this consolation game. Well, Rock Island's getting it done, 75%. King,
most of those shots are off of penetrations and dump passes.
Well, King ended up in the 30s today, and now Donnie White from the outside. Game is tied. No, give him 3. Give him 3.
Kid's a great shooter.
I thought his foot might have been on the line, but the official had his eyes on it and said, give Donnie White 3. Donnie White has 5 for the game, and the Rock Island fans, third place or no, can be heard in the assembly hall. Brandon didn't want the shot, gets it over to Sharif, who does, but can't buy it. Ball tipped around. Wortham was fouled from behind by Cunningham. You can tell when Lamont Wortham gets fouled because he usually moves sideways because he doesn't have a lot of weight on him.
Talking about Chicago Heights Blooms, Brandon Cole, what'd they say? Some 18 times this year he had a boxing one on him. How many times next year do you think Jamie Brandon might have a boxing one?
Going to have to be an awful big box. Pulliam couldn't get it. Pulliam gets his own rebound back. Pulliam will try for 3 and get it.
2 trays in a row, and Rock Island's got a little offense going.
I'll tell you one thing, if you've won the Chicago Public League Championship, which is one of the tougher ones to win in all of America, you do not want to lose 2 games in one day.
No, I don't think so.
Inside to Selvey. He gets it stripped away. Cunningham picks it up and puts it home.
The big man's got soft hands. He catches so well, Johnny Selvey.
And Cunningham will be back next year, too. He's only a junior. Wortham puts it up to White. White with a good head fake. Triple team, gets fouled by Jamie Brandon.
Good head and shoulder fake by Donnie White to get Sharif off his feet, but then Jamie Brandon reached in and got the foul on him.
Donnie White's father was a state champ in wrestling back in 1967, so I'm sure if there's any arguments at home, they're probably over fairly soon. Quick fall, huh? Chris Allison's father is a teacher at Rock Island, so Donnie White couldn't get that one to fall. Donnie's a soft-spoken young man, but his 3-pointers speak for themselves.
You know, you mentioned discipline and so forth. One credit to all the coaches and programs of teams down here. Usually very well-mannered, very disciplined athletes.
Brandon the other way. White couldn't get either free throw to fall. Look at this move, but nothing but air molecules for Brandon. Ball comes back to Selvey. He'll go up, and he'll be fouled by VC. you see the Rock Island contingent, the Brain Trust, if you will. It's really tough to lose at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and be back out here at 6 o'clock. That's the hardest part.
It is. It is.
Just logistics.
It's hard to get the adrenaline going, get back, pump back up.
At halftime, we all had to go pinch Chuck Fisher and see if he's alive. I bet he's wired right now.
Oh,
There's no doubt about that. He's that close to the perfect season. And how about Benny Lewis? He's that close to, if there is such a thing as coaching immortality, he's going to close in on it.
3 in a row.
Pulliam. Score tied at 18. So we've got a good consolation game going.
And yet a footnote to that last comment, the pressure still is on Fisher and the Peoria Central Lions.
Because of the undefeated season.
No question. No question.
VC with a good head fake, goes down the lane, hangs in the air, and hits it.
Well, you know, VC isn't the most agile athlete as he makes his move, but he certainly has a nice shooting eye and a good touch. Yeah, muscular lad.
Johnny White almost stole it out front.
Two ways to approach a box and one on your superstar. That's to do a lot of sets, fix for that person, or to go ahead and let him alone with the assumption that, hey, he's going to get his if he's that good, and let the other four ball players start wheeling and dealing a little bit.
Well, before tonight's game, VC had taken only 28 shots all year. Tonight he's taken 2 and buried them both. Down the lane is Snipes. Nice dish off underneath. It will fall home for Ahmad Sharif. The other way, Pulliam. King and Rocky tied at 20s. Pulliam zips it out front. VC can't hang on. Look out. Pulliam, low post. Lamont Wortham up and in. Count it and send him to the free throw line. And give Johnny Selvey a personal foul. Lamont Wortham now with 6 points on the night.
Lamont had the inside position and just kind of used a drop step as he came to the baseline, took it up, and with that inside positioning, not only got the basket, but drew the foul from Johnny Selvey.
You get a good look at Selvey right there. Well, Lamont can't get the free throw, but the Rocks get the offensive rebound. Allison out front dishes it off to Lamont again. He hits it again. 24-20. The Rocks lead by 4 with 4:50 remaining here in the first half.
He wanted to show you that baseline jumper again.
Wortham's 4 for 4 on the night. Schofield to Jamie Brandon. Oh, pretty. Oh, pretty.
That time, Brandon flashed up through the gut of the lane, caught the ball, and turned and shot over Pulliam, who's guarding him man-to-man.
Well, he turned and he faded away at the same time. That's
when you got a vertical like that and fade. That's unfair, isn't it?
Pulliam can't get that one to fall. And a vertical rebound by Jamie Brandon. The other way, he turns it over, and Chris Allison will bring it up court. Allison weaving. Gets a 3-on-1. Over to VZ, who charges.
Down here, you had two young men just checking out one another, see if they're okay, and in Jamie Brandon and Anthony Pulliam. They both collided after Jamie had lost control of that ball.
Yeah, Pulliam's holding his left wrist a little bit.
And Jamie had concern for him.
There was Fred Schofield, who you see there, drawing the charge.
Big John looks a little tired right now.
Yeah, he
played
does.
hard this afternoon and needs a blow, needs a breather.
Well, everywhere he went this afternoon, there was a Tiger on his back, on his front.
When it came down to the nut-cracking time, though, it was Mr. Tiger.
Ooh, nice pass inside.
Hanzo Martin, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sure was. Anton Little got the dish. And it is tied again at 24s. Donnie White with a good split. Gets it over to Allison after it was knocked away. This is White's shot. Not this time. A rebound fought for and touched last by Jamie Brandon of Chicago King as VC and Brandon fought for the basketball. Duncan Reed.
I like this young man coming into the ball game here, the big kid, Porter. In fact, I'd have a tough time sitting him down very often. He just is a physical specimen and really gets on the boards.
Jamie Brandon is out of the ball game now as Damian Porter comes back in. Pulliam works against Sharif. Vesey, who has 4. Allison can't find Wortham, and now does, and a foul from behind on Damian Porter.
With Brandon, Jamie Brandon taking a little breather here, it will be interesting to observe Rock Island's defense the next time King has the basketball. And remember, they've been playing that box and one with a man on Jamie Brandon. So we'll check and see how Duncan Reed wants to approach it with Brandon sitting down.
Wortham breaks the tie, 25-24. Believe me, Rock Island would feel awful good about themselves if they could bring home a third-place trophy, especially if they earned it against the likes of the Chicago King.
Yeah, very much so. You know, Duncan Reed doesn't want, you know, of course it's great that he's going to come home with the trophy money, but he'd like to improve from last year's 4th and come up to 3rd this year. It's a great selling point to his kids that are all returning, or many of them.
Well, the Duncan Reed program goes deep.
You check out right now, you see the Rocks asking what type of defense. Who do I guard man for man? And they're staying in their box and one, and it's Pulliam on Sharif now. 3 minutes left to go here in the first half. Sharif gets it over to Schofield, who can't buy it. Tipped up and in, though, by Anton Little. Vesey was up there. A hand came out of nowhere, and it was that man's hand. The 6'6", 200-pound junior, Mr. Little. Well, he could play for a lot of people, and he gets sparing just a few minutes here in this ball game, but he could play for a lot of people.
Vesey gets it back out front. Pulliam with a good spin move out front, gets away from Snipes for the time being. White back to Pulliam, who doesn't want the three-pointer. Vesey, good head fake, up, not there. Too much glass. Rebound Schofield, and a foul on Rock Island's Vesey.
Go back to the defense of Rock Island. You know, they've been playing the box and one, and Duncan took the attitude, you know, let's not change anything. Everybody knows their responsibilities. With Brandon, Jamie Brandon out of the ball game, we'll just pick out some other person to guard man for man, and that other person was Ahmad Sharif. And that's sound coaching.
Vesey has picked up his 3rd personal foul. Coming up next, there it is, the matchup. The Peoria Lions against the East St. Louis Lincoln Tigers. A lot of folks thought it was going to be King against Peoria Central, but there were those among us who said don't count East St. Louis Lincoln out. They could rise to the occasion, and they did just that.
I have to be honest, I was one of those people that thought certainly King would make it to the championship game. They looked so impressive in their first ball game.
King with a 1-point lead now. Fred Schofield makes it a 2-point lead. We've got a timeout on the floor. Consolation game is still cooking, and it's a tight one. Let's pause for these messages. We mentioned at the outset that a lot of people get to see a lot of playing time in a 3rd-place game. One of those people is Anton Little of Chicago King, who will come into your screen right there. And look at the tip.
Excellent timing. Just kept the ball alive, and it fell for him. But as we said, he's been used sparingly in this tournament, and yet, again, he could play for a lot of basketball teams in the state of Illinois.
Jamie Brandon remains on the Chicago King bench as the Rocks bring it up against the pressure. 2:15 remaining in the first half. There's a good pressure breaker right there. The pass to Allison. Allison will drive, kick it over to Donnie White. Up? No, not this time. Rebound nicely, Selvey.
Good box out by Selvey to control the board.
Well, you got Tommy Cunningham off the bench at 6'8", Anton Little at 6'6", Lauren. Donnie White knocks it out of bounds.
You know, you see the gleam in some of the defenders' eyes that have the responsibility of guarding Chris Allison. Allison's the kind of ball player you want to play against so hard and stop, because that's how he puts the defense on you. He's, as you said, he's like that fly at the picnic, and he's aggravating to the opponent.
Well, Selvey is in there now. Snipes to the glass. Got it. Nice move. Victor Snipes. The only senior on this King team that you'll see Victor Snipes. Okay, now Rock Island needs a bucket here. They trail by 4. They don't want to get too far behind this King team because, as you know, they can explode. A foul out front by Victor Snipes. Both teams are in the bonus, so Allison will go to the charity stripe. There you see the Jaguar cheerleaders. And there you see Chris Allison, only a junior, 5'8", 150. And he can't get the roll. Tip controlled by Lamont Wortham, up in there.
Big basket by the big guy.
Scott Small is also in the ball game, and he was fighting for the rebound down there, wearing number 23 for the young men in red. Lamont Wortham now with 10 on the night. That's his seasonal average.
Pulliam matched up with Jamie Brandon, dogging him all over the half court while King has the ball.
We're under a minute now remaining in the first half. King with the 2-point edge, working it around the perimeter. Schofield doesn't want it. Little looking inside, nothing there. Brandon will probably make something happen. He says, I see Schofield. Schofield says, I'll try, but he can't buy. Rebound underneath, and Selvey uses that big body to lean back in and bank it off the glass.
You know, one thing a team might, there's a long pass by
Pulliam.
Allison.
Small was breaking down the lane, but there's a tough pass to catch. And coming the other way is Jamie Brandon, almost taken away by White. Brandon controls and scores.
He does things effortlessly, does he not?
Well, Rock Island better not turn it over this time because they're down by 6. Allison jumper, no. Wortham almost on somebody's back, and with 6 seconds left, King can take an 8-point lead. Snipes gets it to Selvey. Bodies fly, and we have a foul on Rock Island as Scott Small got tangled up in there. That was an alley-oop attempt, and Small kind of got in Selvey's way as he attempted to go up in the air, and bang, bang.
Lead pass here, coming in for the alley-oop, and Small got in there and broke it up, but got a clipping call against him here.
Boy, Selvey's fortunate that he didn't hit that head at the wrong angle at the base of the basket. Ooh. That's why it's padded, folks.
I hope those things are well padded, don't you?
I mean, how long did it take the fathers of the NFL to realize that if you run into those goalposts in the end zone, you may not be back next season?
I'm impressed with the big guy's touch at the free throw line. He's got good rotation as he shoots his free throw. I don't know what he shoots on the year. Probably about 84.
Well, this afternoon, Selvey was 0 for 4 in the quarterfinal game. He was 12 for 20, so free throws missed. Pulliam won't get the shot off, and Rock Island, which was to within 2, sees the momentum shift to King here right before the intermission. We are at the half of the third-place game. Chicago King leads Rock Island by a count of 35-28. Let's take time out for this from the Country Companies, proud sponsors of the IHSA telecast since 1972. And welcome back to Champaign, where March Madness is wrapping itself up in the form of first the Consolation game, and then, of course, Peoria Central and East St. Louis Lincoln. We'll talk more about that before the big tip-off commences. But right now, we are at the half, 35-28. Rock Island stick it in there, Coach. I think Selvey's one of the reasons right now why King is ahead. He's really dealing inside.
Yeah, he's a physical kid, and he plays tough inside, and I think that's a big reason. Of course, the the boxing one on Jamie Brandon allows Selvey to have some room to maneuver inside, and the kids are finding him, and he's eating glass on the offensive board.
There you see one of the Barrington Pep Band dancers. Yes, indeed. The Rock Island Rocks and the Chicago King Jaguars at the half. It's a loose game, and there's not a lot to say about a third-place game. You can say that Lamont Wortham is having a good half. He has scored 10 points thus far. That's his season average, and they're going to need some more help from him and the big people inside.
And Brian Jones had the ankle injury this afternoon. Maybe a little bit tender for him right now, and Wortham's getting an opportunity to play in this third-place game, and he's responding for the Rocks. And you like to see a kid close out a season that way.
Shane McGahee has foul trouble. He picked up 3 fairly early, so he is on the bench. We expect to see him early in the second half. Now let's go courtside where our colleague Art Kimball is standing by. Art?
Thank you very much, Jim. We have another familiar face, I think, to our television audience. We try to have Joe Muschel on every season, the AP editor out of the city of Chicago. And Joe, I was talking to you before the activity started today, and you were very interested in the possibility of that third championship for East St. Louis, matchup between a team shooting for number 3, never been done before, and an undefeated team.
Well, I really think it's great. It's a situation that normally doesn't come up. I mean, we've been going through this for 81 years, and, you know, you win 2 in a row, that's great. Thornridge did it, and Mount Vernon did it, and Lincoln did it, but 3 in a row is very difficult because of the transitions of the students. And here you have a situation that just might happen. And I'm pulling for it. I really am. I think it'll be a part of Illinois basketball history that could live forever.
The King East St. Louis Lincoln game this morning and this afternoon was a great basketball game. How did you view it? What are some observations from Joe Mushel's perspective?
Well, the thing is, I thought that East St. Louis Lincoln did a tremendous job defensively. They completely took Selvey out of the game. They let Brandon go. Brandon couldn't get started early, but later he scored 31 points, 24 in the second half, but it wasn't enough to do it.
Right.
Selby was completely out of the game, and Martin, and then when it came down to the crunch time, they made the free throws, and that's what counted. Sylvester made the free throws, McKinney made the free throws, and they didn't lose their poise at all. And as I look back in the last 2 years, previous 2 years, even with LaFonso Ellis, Lincoln was not the favored team.
That's right.
But they kept coming on. They were not favored going in this year, but they kept coming on, and right now they're on a threshold of doing something that's never happened before.
What do you think of the Peoria Central Ball Club? Chuck Bisher's been here before, obviously got some talent.
Peoria Central is undefeated, a great team, obviously. They've come through tough tournaments to get here and stay undefeated, but the thing is, they lack height.
Yeah.
And that could hurt them against Lincoln. They overcame it against Rock Island. Rock Island had tremendous height over them, but they had enough talent to overcome it.
And their big kid, Hughes, really plays on the perimeter.
Right. And so I don't know. Either way, it's going to be great, because if Lincoln wins, it's the first time a team gets 3 in a row. If Central wins, it'll be another undefeated championship.
So I think we can anticipate a great state championship ball game. I think the last really great one was that overtime, double overtime against between Lanphier and Mount Carmel. That had us all on the edge of our seats. We can have that again tonight, maybe.
It could happen. It could happen. But I don't want an overtime.
It's been a long and exciting tournament. Joe, one quick comment, if you will. One of the better state tournaments in recent years, competitively speaking?
I think so. We've had 4 good games so far. You always get a couple of games that aren't that good, but there have been 4 good games, and it's been a good tournament. Unfortunately, the stands are not that packed.
Yeah, it's too bad. Joe, thank you so much. You're always a great guest. Good luck to you. Enjoy the baseball season.
Thank you.
Joe Muschel from AP in Chicago, our guest, and we'll be back after this from one of your network sponsors, John Deere.
Well, this afternoon when Rock Island trailed at the intermission against Peoria Central, they were down by 5. In the consolation game, they find themselves down by 7, 35-28. Let's take a look at some of the numbers and see how that unfolded. Statistically speaking, King shooting 50% from the field. Rock Island doing well. 12 of 20, that's 60%, folks. The free throw line seems to be the difference at this point. 11 of 14 for Chicago King, much unlike they did this afternoon against East St. Louis Lincoln. That's 78%. The Rocks 2 of 6 rebounding, definitely in favor of King. 15-7 turnovers. Rock Island has committed 3 more than has King. Individually, Blake Wortham. Blake, of course, is Lamont's brother. Lamont Wortham with 12. Blake hasn't scored tonight. Donnie White with 5, and Mr. Veazey coming off the bench at Veazey with 4 points. Johnny Selvey has 11 for Chicago King. Jamie Brandon with 8. Cunningham with 4, and Anton Little with 4. Well, if you're Duncan Reed in the second half, I don't know if you do anything different. I don't know if you do anything different if you're Sonny Landon Cox. Just tell him to go play, that it's the last half of basketball for 1988 and 89. What else do you do?
The difference in the ball game right now is the free throw line, and the difference there is a King Ball Club that's going inside to Johnny Selby, and he's in high rent district, and he's getting fouled in there and going to the line, and they're hitting those free throws, and that's the big difference in the game right now.
We'll be back with the start of the second half. But first, let's pause for these messages. Game, the Peoria Central Lions trying to become one of very few teams to go through a whole season undefeated and win the state championship against East St. Louis Lincoln, trying to win it 3 times in a row. Benny Lewis against Chuck Fisher. Frank Bissoni will be at the microphone. Sharif with a baseline jumper, not there. High for the rebound is Damian Porter, but he couldn't get it to fall, and the Rocks come out of there with it.
The Rocks come out right away and establish their box-and-one defense on Jamie Brandon, so the attitude remains the same. Keep the ball out of Brandon's hands.
Jones with a nice drive, gets his own rebound and puts it back up and in. Good aggressive work there by Brian Jones, the center for Rock Island.
All good offensive ball players follow their shot, and that's why you do it.
And Coach, there's also a factor now that comes into play, and that's if you're a senior. This is it. Shot up and in.
Yeah, it's very true, and you know, each kid I think wants to bow out a winner, winning the last game of basketball they play in high school, and we would like to think that the coaches will allow some seniors to get as much playing time in this last 16 minutes as possible.
Shane McGahee has just picked up his 4th foul after Victor Snipes took it to the hole and picked up the personal. The Chicago Kings lead is back up to 7, and Victor Snipes, one of those seniors we were talking about, gets the 3-pointer. I mean, think in years to come when someone asked Victor Snipes, where'd you play high school basketball? Oh, I played for Chicago King. You mean the Chicago King? Yeah, I did. McGahee down low, travels. Well, Shane's not having a great game tonight, and nothing's going his way. He's been taken out of it with his foul trouble, and now
King came out early in this third quarter and put a little diamond in one, 3-quarter court press on, trying to create some turnovers from the Rocks.
The atmosphere at the Assembly Hall remains quite calm. Long jumper on the side by Ahmad Sharif. Nothing but net.
My favorite name in this tournament.
It is a good name. I like it. Jones, high archer, no way. Sharif with a rebound to Snipes all the way across the court. It goes to you-know-who, Jamie Brandon. Buries it.
He knew where he was, too. Quick outlet pass, diagonal cross-court pass, and Jamie took it. Saw that he was inside the 3-point arc, so he backed up and nailed it. That's court presence, folks.
And now McGahee almost with another turnover. And the Rocks have to get it together now. Jones, good move, uses the left hand. 43-32. Rocks trail by 11, and we have an injured player, Johnny Selby.
Jones, a senior on the Rock Island Ball Club. I haven't heard where he may attend college. Have either of you?
No. Still up for grabs, last I heard.
Where Jones may go to school?
Yeah.
Some coaches like to attack the box and one if it's their boy being boxed, to put him at the top of the circle, or as we say, in the middle of the offense at the high post.
Allison, great pass to Donnie White. Those low bounce passes that get about 2 feet, 3 feet off the floor are things of beauty. Allison made one this afternoon. He makes another there to his teammate Donnie White, and the Rocks show some life. Cut that double-digit lead down to 9 at 43-34. Jamie Brandon up top against the zone. Brandon goes over the top of it. Sharif dumps it inside to Cunningham. Hook shot won't go, but we've got a whistle and a foul on Rock Island as Tommy Cunningham will go to the free throw line.
Nice ball movement by Chicago King. Jamie Brandon had the ball on the perimeter out here, threw diagonally down to the baseline to Ahmad Sharif, and Sharif dumped down inside to Cunningham. Good quick ball movement, a diagonal, a quick touch pass inside, and Cunningham drew the foul from Rock Island.
Lamont Wortham will check in now, and Brian Jones will leave.
Brian's had a little bit of a rough go with that ankle, I believe, although he made a nice offensive move the last time down the floor.
Duncan Reed has a word with Brian Jones right now. Brian really didn't want to come out of the game, and that's not unusual for a young man, but Duncan wanted him out for the time being. get back to that senior thing. You know, you want to play every possible minute you can.
Cunningham's a nice-looking junior, 6'8".
Rebound, Sharif back up and in. That really hurts Rock Island. It really helps Chicago King. A three-point play the old-fashioned way, 46-34, and back in will come Brian Jones. Unless Lamont went in for someone he wasn't supposed to, but that's not the way it looked. Wortham, up, got it. Nothing but net. Lamont Wortham, I believe that's 14 for him. And the Rocks trail by 8 with 4:57 remaining here in the third quarter. Brandon inside the three-point line. That one will go high, and McGahee strong with a rebound. Makes a bad pass. It's picked off by Sharif, who gets it over to Cunningham. Allison stole it. Now it's loose, and McGahee's got it. Allison was in there again. It's a 3-on-2. Donnie White. Body control to Lamont Wortham. Up and can't get it to fall. McGahee's got it back. Up and in.
McGahee just forced in there. Good timing on the offensive board.
That's another factor in the consolation game. If you've got a traveling in the backcourt by Chicago King, and Duncan Reed called it before the official did. I was about to say, if you've got 4 fouls in the consolation game and you're a junior, you get another season ahead of you, you're not quite as timid. You still go at it.
That's right.
Well, somebody's screaming timeout. Somebody else is saying new players in. What will it be?
King wanted a timeout, but then the traveling call was made, and they opted not to take their timeout, so it's Rock Island's ball underneath their own basket.
Fred Schofield dances in. The Rocks, Brian Jones, little too much iron, and the rebound comes down here. Schofield, after the pass from Brandon, misses it. Rebound up and in. It looked like Cunningham underneath there, and it was.
And Chris Allison is pleading with the official. Why not the charging foul?
That's what Duncan Reed wanted. He didn't get it.
It's the only thing a little guy can do in this game, and that's to have enough courage to step out in front. He did, and he didn't get the call.
Damian Porter will check in. Allison with a nice dish off to Jones. Look out, he got it. Good roll, good roll.
2 points going to go behind Jones's name, but Chris Allison created the whole play.
8 for Jones. Allison with the assist, and now traveling in the backcourt. Well, actually, they say he stepped on the sideline. And now coming in will be Damian Porter and Victor Snipes. Checking out will be Tommy Cunningham and Fred Schofield for Landon Cox.
2 unforced turnovers the last couple of 2 out of 3 times that King has had the ball, the travel and then stepping out of bounds. Those unforced turnovers really bug a coach.
Rock's trying to get a little closer. Wortham, who's had a hot hand, gets it slapped away, but Allison's there. Allison back to Wortham in close. A foul by Damian Porter. He got ball, but he also got some hand, according to the official.
Check this penetration out by Chris Allison. He knew where he was going with the ball all along and got it to his teammate Lamont Wortham, who was fouled going for 2.
When Chicago King lost this afternoon, it was only the 29th loss, 29, in Sonny Cox's 8-year career.
Outstanding.
I know you never get used to losing. No one should anyway, but it's got to be a shock when you've only lost 29 games in 8 years. Those post-game press conferences are a little bit different. Lamont Wortham gets them both. Lamont has 16 points on the night. The Rocks are back to within 6. 48-42. Wortham's high game of the year was 23. He's in line for that. Victor Snipes, as the Rocks drop back into the zone with 3:17 remaining here in the third quarter.
They're out of their box and 1 now, Jim, playing a straight 3-2 zone defense.
Brandon with that good crossover dribble. Donnie White took it away, and he was breaking down court, but Brian Jones was busy protecting the basketball and could not spot his mate. Rock Island fans making some noise. They're at the same end that their team is right now. Jones fouled out front by Anton Little, who can't believe it.
They're not in the bonus yet, but playing that kind of defense, they'll soon send Rock Island to the bonus situation. Now, Sonny, when they're 1-4 high offense, Sonny go Cox 1-on-1 right here. He's claiming he hooked him.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, Coach. He
did.
I'll
tell you what, that's a good offensive move, and one that they often let the guy go by with.
Now this from one of your network sponsors, the Illinois Pork Producers. There you see a bird's eye view of Assembly Hall. The house that Lou Henson and the Fighting Illini call home, as well as the Here's Donnie White, three-pointer, count it.
Right now on the inbound play, Donnie White had his feet set, cranked it up, and in. And suddenly you got a three-point game, Jim.
White hit a couple of those against Peoria Central this afternoon down the stretch to keep things very interesting. White almost created a turnover, but the good hands of Jamie Brandon helped King avoid that. They lead it 48-45, 2:31 now remaining here in the third quarter. Up next, the championship game. Peoria Central, East St. Louis Lincoln. Even if you didn't pay to get in, you're going to get your money's worth right here on the IHSA television network. Brandon baseline, jumper up, good. Ooh, pretty.
You know, it is pretty. He squares up so well once he goes up. His shoulders are square, his hips are square, and he really has a picture-perfect jump shot.
13 now for Jamie Brandon. The average is 31. Alley-oop to Jones, brings it down, goes up, can't get it. Good defense by Anton Little. Otherwise, the Rocks would be back to within 3. The alley-oop was just a little mistimed. That one off of Jamie Brandon's knee, according to the official, but I'll tell you what, I thought it went off of Anthony Pulliam's foot.
Went off of someone's foot. It was beneath the table here from our side, or my side, but it could have been off of Pulliam's foot.
Bounce pass by Chris Allison, and it goes awry. Lamont Wortham was in there along with Brian Jones, and Duncan Reed pleads his case. Sharif gets it up to Brandon. Brandon will just find his own opening. Nice pass to Little. Anton Little did everything but slam it home.
Well, he's got great spring in his legs. Drove the baseline with authority and laid it up and over with 2 hands. King remains in their man-to-man and have been throughout the ball game.
I don't know. Alley-oop again to Jones. This time, again, the same result. But this time he misses the layup. Ball tipped out of there, headed out of bounds. It belongs to Rock Island. Well, Sonny Cox, I should say, of King, says no way. But he's far away from the play. The Rocks have had a couple of golden opportunities down there, and they can't get him to fall.
Well, King is overplaying in their man-to-man, and they're trying to go backdoor with some lob passes to Brian Jones.
Tony Pulliam can't get the 3. The other way comes King. They have a 7-point lead. It was down to 3 just moments ago. Ooh, Snipes almost turned it over, and then he charged into Allison. Who else? Chris Allison setting up shop in the lane.
And he got a technical foul.
Yeah, we've got to take it out.
This is what Chris Allison does best on defense. He plants himself, picks up the charge. That's all part of the game and a big part of the game. And then you get a technical foul on one of the King ball players for obviously disagreeing with the charge call.
The technical foul called against Victor Snipes, who undoubtedly sit down now as Fred Schofield comes in. Donnie White misses the free throw. I'll tell you one thing, Fred Schofield, he's ready to party, folks. He's having a good time out there. Donnie White missed both free throws.
He's enjoying this third-place game.
Sonny Cox not enjoying it yet. The Rock Island, they've missed 2 close-in shots. Couldn't get them off to fall like the alley-oop. And now they've missed a pair of free throws, so they trail by 7. And almost steal by Little. Jones kicks it over to Donnie White, who needs it and does not get it. High for the rebound is Little. That's kind of the way it's gone for Rock Island today. Just missing. Brandon, no, that'll miss by plenty. But Sharif's there for the rebound, and it'll go, and it'll count.
Nice pump fake by Ahmad Sharif in the lane, and it counts, much to the delight of his teammate, Mr. Schofield.
There you see Brandon fire.
Missed shot right there, and of course, Ahmad Sharif's in the right place. Look at the little pump fake in here, Jim. Dipsy-do, gets fouled, it goes.
Lamont Wortham reaching over there.
And Fred Schofield really enjoyed his teammates' athletic skills in.
Wortham has only 1 foul in this game. There you get a good look at Ahmad Sharif. Oh, tipped up and in by Little. Well, King has just gone on one of their runs.
The little guy has got great spring in his legs. Good timing on the offensive board.
What was a 3-point game is now an 11-point edge for the Jaguars as Allison goes off the pick, but he's double teamed on the wing. White loses it. Allison wants 3, won't get it. Rebound comes out high to Sharif. Uh-oh, trouble time. Jamie Brandon got it. Well, Rock Island may have just run out of steam here. They hit a cold spell, and King did just the opposite. Allison bounces it off his foot. The other way comes King.
Good call. Chris may be forcing the game just a little bit. Need to get probably a little bit more passing, reversing the ball against the man-to-man defense.
Here comes the shot. Brandon from 70, off the mark. Maybe 60, maybe 50, but it was off the mark nonetheless. And after 3 quarters, Chicago King has taken control, 58-45. Now this from the Country Companies, proud sponsors of the IHSA telecast since 1972. Here you'll see the body English of Landon Sonny Cox in that last half-court shot.
He was trying to get that 47-footer to drop there.
Yeah, we didn't measure it during the timeout. There was exactly 47.
That's right. And you know how much we coaches depend on that body English for those shots too, Jim.
That's right. Field goal shooting. The Rocks went cold there at the end of the 3rd quarter. 38%. Kings cranking it up. We're going to be right around 60 for the game pretty soon. The Rocks need to get some offense going and then try to shut down. Donnie White 3-pointer, point blank. That's the second one that went in and out. Well, you can't really blame Rock Island. They're on the mark. It just doesn't seem to be in the cards right now.
Coach Reed ran a special to get a 3-point shot, trying to shake his team loose here.
King scores here. The Rocks' climb will be a long one. Schofield.
Interestingly enough, Rock Island's back in their box and 1 defense on Jamie Brandon.
And King will say, okay, fine, come on out and get us then. Tony Pulliam will comply. And now the steal by Donnie White, but it goes out of bounds.
By pulling them out there a little bit, they forced Rock Island to switch out of their box and 1, going to a straight man-to-man, and that's what King wants them to play. They want them to play some basketball here in the final 7 minutes of the season, so they're going to pull them out, force them into a man-man situation, and that's what we have right now.
Donnie White showed his defensive acceleration on that play, reading the pass, but Sonny Cox was livid about Jamie Brandon's attempted pass. In the middle it goes to Little. Little will deal in there. Blocked, however, by Brian Jones. Here comes Donnie White. White up ahead against the field. Has it blocked from behind. Wortham picks it up, fires, hits.
Wortham's got a quick release, hasn't he, for a big kid?
Wortham with 18 on the night. He does have a quick release. And Lamont, one of the seniors on Rock Island, one of the few playing his last game under Coach Duncan Reed. Brian Jones, the other, of course, among the top 6 in the lineup. Porter looks around, can't find anybody, and eventually dumps it over.
Porter's a big man.
Boy, he sure is. Jones tried to front him. Porter goes in and scores. And Wortham picks up the foul. Big play for Chicago King in terms of stopping a Rock Island run. Jones made the gamble. He took it a step too late.
Check Porter out. He's posted up. Schofield makes the pass inside, and of course Jones goes for the steal. Kind of a bad move. Wortham comes over trying to help out, but the big horse Porter is just too much for Wortham down that low, Jim.
Sean McMillan set to check in for the Rock Island Rocks, along with Rick Kelly. Kelly wears number 22. Checking out will be Allison and Donnie White. Whether or not that's it for the year for the junior guards, we'll have to see.
Well, this is how you build and sustain a program too, Jim. In this situation down here at the state finals, Duncan Reed is getting some people in the ball game, and he's going to get some valuable playing time to some people, and many of them returning.
Regardless of whether Rock Island loses the game, I mean, you folks at home know that Chicago King had a great year. Well, the Rock Island Rocks did too. They struggled a little bit early, but then after the Christmas break, they got it all together with defense as the foundation. And now inside, Lamont Wortham is fouled as he turns. Anton Little picking up the personal.
Cunningham's ready to check in for King. Likely be coming in for Little. No, it's going to be Porter.
Don't forget Peoria Central and East St. Louis Lincoln coming up. Frank Bissoni will call the play-by-play. He's currently in the runway doing sprints, getting ready. Lamont Wortham.
This
There's a lot of sprint work I noticed down here.
He really does. Wortham has 20. He's having an outstanding game, and we've got a blocking foul coming up court on Sean McMillan.
Ahmad Sharif will go to the line with a 1-and-1.
Well, they gave that to Brian Jones. Yeah, they did to Brian Jones. Correction. My mistake. Give Jones now 4. Rick Kelly and Sean McMillan are the co-captains on this Rock Island team. 61-49, Rock's down by 12, looking for that late flurry in the last game of their season. And next to the last game of the season. Oh, nice give and go, but Pulliam just couldn't get it to fall, and here comes Brandon the other way. Brandon will give it up to Schofield. Brandon with that good crossover dribble between the legs, doing it all. Nice pass over to Cunningham. But taken away there by Rick Kelly, who says, thank you, I'll take it down, and won't hit it, though. Brian Jones almost picked up his 5th foul, and we got a jump ball.
Got a jump ball. He got by with it a little bit. Of course, the possession arrow's in favor of King, and they'll inbound.
Checking in now will be Damian Porter.
Back in for Cunningham, who had just come in for him maybe 50 seconds or so ago.
Schofield breaks the press by getting it over to Ahmad Sharif, who does the behind the back number and does it nicely. 4:55 remaining in this one. Brandon down the lane, hang time, and the spin off the fingertips.
Tell you what, he's tough going to the basket once he gets inside. He just got great vertical jumping ability and excellent touch.
Brandon has 17 now. That gives him 99 points in 4 games. And Lamont Wortham just lost the handle. Checking in now will be Shane McGahee. Out goes Brian Jones. 4:31 left. Duncan Reed's got a smile on his face as I look down the Rock Island bench, but I don't know if it's one of those ha-ha smiles or one of those confused smiles.
Well, he's still coaching here.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
got some new guys in the ball game, but he's still coaching. He wants to make sure that they give it their very best and that they execute.
Schofield looks for Little inside, and he's there. Oh, good steal, however, on the other side by Rick Kelly.
Little posted up very well, caught the ball, and Kelly came to the weak side to help defensively, took a swipe at it and knocked it out of bounds.
Schofield checks out. Snipes in, gets it inside low, and that's easy for Damian Porter.
He's my horse. He's a big kid.
He really is. Pass broken up at the other end by Sharif, and Rock Island will maintain possession.
You put you put the Porter on one block and put Selvey on the other, and you got some big kids inside to post up and go to.
Well, at this point, it looks like Chicago King will finish #1 in the city and #3 in the state as Jamie Brandon comes up with a turnover. His pass is stolen by McMillan, and McMillan comes the other way. Well,
we're on 0.
McGahee with a stop. Well, he can get up. McGahee, 6'4", 195. A senior. You know, that's the first 4-on-0 break I've seen in a while.
You only get those on mid-court turnovers, and that's what happened there.
King playing around the perimeter as Sharif gives it up to Brandon with 3:28 remaining.
They're spreading.
Yeah, they're spreading, and they should, with a 14-point lead. Make the trailing team come to you. Brandon goes down. He'll weave all the way home. Won't get the shot up, but Wortham will pick up the personal foul.
Very tough ball player going into the lane, looking for seams to split, and got that great jumping ability. Let's look at the mid-court steal here, right at the top of the circle.
McMillan looked up, and everybody was down there.
McGahee in for the two-hand stuff. And that gives the Rock Island fans something to cheer about.
Duncan Reed having some fun with some of his substitutes right now. He's going down the bench and having a good time. Well, you know, if you're going to lose, I mean, that's the way to take it. You know, I mean,
culmination of a lot of work. It all began for all of us back at the very early part of November, and it's nice to be in the championship series.
Kelly was going to put it up there for Lamont Wortham, but it was blocked away by Anton Little. I mean, what does Rock Island have to be ashamed of? They've gone to 4 straight Sweet 16s.
That's right. 4 straight Sweet 16s. They're the second consecutive 4th place finish in the state, and a young ball club.
Jack Anderson now checking in for Rock Island, wearing number 30, as you can see. Lamont Wortham goes out. Pulliam will inbound. Well, the Rocks had it close there in the 3rd quarter, but then the wheels fell off. The shots wouldn't fall, and King ran away. McMillan off the glass, too hard. Rebound comes down to Little. Sharif.
He's going to pull it out.
Snipes will size up things and get it over to Brandon. Uh-oh, all alone is Porter. That's trouble, but he can't get it to fall. Little's there. Ball's loose on the floor. Little back up and in. 17-point lead now for Chicago King. The Rock Island Rocks will finish their season at 27-6. A lot of folks in Rock Island. Oh, good pass. Whoa, it might go, but it didn't. Rick Kelly tried one of those old Dr. J numbers.
Yeah, he knew he got fouled, so he thought, well, while I'm up here, let me throw this thing up. Maybe it'll fall for me.
And there you see the smile. And I don't care how many basketball games I see. If there's one thing I like to see on a court, and I know you want to win, and I know intensity is everything, but I like to see young people smile, because in the adult business world, often you don't see too many people smile, and if you can't smile out here, Coach.
In the basketball world, oftentimes you see little smiling and not having a lot of fun. And again, this is one of the reasons why I kind of like this 3rd place game. Youngsters on both these benches get an opportunity to play in the state tournament because there's less significance to the trophy, whether it's 3rd or 4th place. If they were going for number 1, just the premium top 7 or 8 would be seeing some time, Jim.
So Kelly, one of the co-captains, gets 1 of 2 with 2:27 remaining here. 3rd place will go to Chicago King. Brandon. Snipes goes through some traffic and gets it back out to Ahmad Sharif, and I really have liked Sharif in this tournament.
I have too.
He really is under control.
And he is the forgotten man, as called by his coach, Sonny Cox.
I mean, you can't help but like the likes of Jamie Brandon,
oh, sure.
Johnny Selvey. We hear of those people, and rightly so, but yeah, Sonny Cox said he was the forgotten one, and he's a good player.
Steady, solid on defense, very unselfish ball player, yet you let him alone, he can hurt you with his offense. Very fierce competitor. Always a spot on your ball club for a young man like Ahmad Sharif.
And I'd like to repeat one thing before this game comes to a conclusion. I talked to Duncan Reed before he came down here to the Elite 8, and it's to the point now in Rock Island where things are expected because the program is getting so strong. But Duncan Reed brought up a point. You should be thankful for every victory. Don't count 20-win seasons before they hatch. These are young kids, and it's a game. If you start expecting things in sports, Coach, what's left?
Yeah, the thing you have to expect is that your kids will play hard.
That's right. McMillan all the way. Good move by Sean McMillan.
You know, if they're coachable and they'll play hard, and you start talking about performance goals. Are we getting better every time we go out, regardless of the W's and L's? Are we improving?
Snipes through traffic. Remember, Allison and White were pulled with about 6 minutes left to go in the 4th quarter as Reed wanted to go to his bench. And now checking in for Chicago King will be Sean O'Quinn, number 14. And Jamie Brandon may have played his last game of this year, at least on the court. I'd like to know how many hours Jamie Brandon puts in.
I'd like to have a Jamie Brandon next year. Quite a ball player.
You already had a Kaufman, Coach.
Well, I'll tell you, I'd like to have another Andy Kaufman, outstanding ball player.
Yeah, he sure was.
Jamie Brandon is really going to have a tremendous senior season. Not that he hasn't had 3 good ones already for King, but they could be right back here next year, Jim.
When you have an outstanding performer like a Kaufman or like a Brandon, as a coach, what do you look for? Just the very little things? Because they almost seem self-taught. They're so dedicated and so skilled. What do you try to instill in them?
I think the thing you try to do is get the ball in their hands often. That way they make you look like a very good coach.
Oh, it was a simple answer. McMillan to the hole. He'll be fouled. They'll count the basket.
Well, I don't mean for it to be, I don't mean to be facetious about it and make it oversimplified, but really when the great ones have their hands on the ball, they can make the other ones even greater themselves, Jim.
We've got a timeout on the court. We'll be back after this from one of your network sponsors, John Deere. For you King and Rock Island fans, you want to see your young men and your coaches get what they deserve? Join us at halftime of the championship game. There you see that goaltending call on Chicago King. Give 2 to McMillan. That's when the trophies and the medals will be awarded to the 3rd and 4th place teams at halftime of our championship game, which is coming up after our consolation game, Peoria Central, East St. Louis Lincoln. Can the Tigers win 3 in a row? And if they do, will anybody ever do it again in our lifetime? 70-56, King in control with 1:20 left.
Well, it's a great team they have coming back, and with speculation that they might pick up a player or 2 from the now defunct East St. Louis Assumption, they could be going for 4 in a row if they're successful at the 3rd one.
Anton Little with a bucket at the other end for the Jaguars. Getting ready to check in now for Rock Island is Wayne Meyer.
Got some new players in the game down this last minute of play. Both ball clubs getting fresh people in, let them have an opportunity to play on the Assembly Hall floor, Jim, in a state tournament.
Scott Small hit that last bucket for Rock Island. Well, Snipes doing a little one on everybody out there. Sean O'Quinn in, and speaking of in, check out Anton Little with a tip.
Good timing, that young man, right on the offensive board, and little tip in.
In a hurry is McMillan, and we've got a whistle and a foul at the other end. 29 seconds left. 74-58. I mentioned that Wayne Meyer is getting set to check in for Rock Island. And here comes Wayne.
What's that young man's name?
That would be Wayne Meyer. You know, these are the kinds of kids.
You betcha.
They make a program.
You betcha.
If you had 5 stars and nobody to practice against, I bet you wouldn't win 20 every year.
For those that don't know, that young man was waiting for the official to beckon him onto the floor, and he heard you call his name, and he looked over and gave you a thumbs up and winked. He was very proud at that moment that his name was going out on network TV and that he was entering this ball game.
Well, he should be.
That's what it's about.
And if he gets a date and they end up getting married, I want an invitation to the wedding, okay?
All right. There you go. Yeah, you'll get a postcard from his mom and dad.
You got to think future. You got to think future, because that's what these kids are all about. What they learn on the basketball court, they hopefully will take with them. The good and the bad.
That's right.
Because if something bad happens to you out here, whether if you fail or succeed, you have to learn. McMillan can't get the free throw. King will definitely get the rebound as Anton Little clears it out. 23 seconds remaining. Number 12 in the ball game is Vernon Bird for Chicago King. O'Quinn up, couldn't get it to fall. Tip no good. O'Quinn will try again, and Little is there, man.
Little on the spot.
Also Jerome Bell wearing number 15 in the ball game for King. McMillan can't get it to fall. Little has another rebound. This game is officially over. 3rd place belongs to Chicago King. In the 1989 Class AA tournament, the Rock Island Rocks. There you see Sean McMillan sending his best wishes back to the Quad Cities. So for the 2nd year in a row, Rock Island will finish in 4th place. Chicago King grabs the 3rd place trophy. The final 76-58. Let us pause now for these messages.
Size advantage to the Tigers. Shooting advantage outside may be to Central.
Both teams very quick. In white, the Tigers, 2-time defending champions. They send Ronald Willis at 6'8" against Mike Hughes. Central in maroon. Lincoln, Jackson, 2. Central on the up-tempo. Chris Reynolds, the point guard.
Lincoln has accustomed in their 2-3 zone defense.
The Lions will get some outside shots. That man, 34, Mike Hughes, is their trigger. First shot of the game. Long rebound to the running East St. Louis Lincoln team. Central starts 3-2 zone. McKinney to the right. Charles White off
offensive board may be so significant in this ball game, Frank.
Kirksey on the right side. Will stop and go move. 2 shots for Central, no score.
Neither team has gotten an offensive rebound yet, so we'll see who dominates, if anybody.
Hunzo Martin's shot missed. And the slate is still clean. Both teams have been ruthlessly efficient during the season. They've won 60 between them. White can shoot outside. Reynolds is the spark plug of the team. He's at the point. He's their acknowledged leader.
Central showing some patience against the 2-3 zone, wanting East St. Louis to have to move.
Hughes, 3, too long. Martin moves it up to Rico Sylvester.
3-2 zone defense there by Central, one that they've used quite a bit throughout the season.
They put Jackson and McKinney on the wings. That's Jackson. Will stop and pop is short. Ball kicked away from Reynolds. Pushing it back. Conzo Martin, a deuce. Lincoln 4-0.
Lincoln in their diamond and one zone press at about 3/4 court. They'll fall back into a 2-3 after it's negotiated by Central.
Vincent Jackson, who got the first goal of the game, is in his 3rd consecutive trip to the championship game. Kirksey to Reynolds, a 3, no. Central shooting long shots.
There is yet to be an offensive rebound by either team.
Denny Lewis said it would come down to execution, defense, and free throws. The board's very important. Vincent Jackson, 3.
He was quiet earlier this afternoon, but we know what a great shooter he is.
7-zip. All the way, Reynolds tried to answer and can't. On the other end, McKinney on the fly. Jackson back. It's no.
First offensive rebound right there.
And Jackson missed the try. So the Tigers flying out of the blocks. In the lead, 7-0.
Good fast break, good execution. Jackson goes up, misses here, but gets his own rebound off the missed shot. Goes up, shoots, and is fouled. And that's the first offensive rebound in well over 3 minutes played.
Courtney Zazone will get off the Lion bench at 6'5½", and a couple of things are important for the Lions. 1, keep their poise. 2, get that first one in.
Well, we've known all through the tournament that you can come back on East St. Louis Lincoln. They've had some ball handling problems in the tournament, and which has allowed teams, opponents to come back on them. But it's important that Central does keep their poise, and certainly you don't want to bury yourself too deeply too early.
Benny Lewis. Two free throws are down. 9-0 the Tigers, and in the 1980s their record is 245-39.
It's pretty important to get one down here for Central this trip.
They bring it to their main man, Mike Hughes, and that's goaltending. Goal for Hughes.
Doubt that it would have gone, but they needed it. Hughes comes in, pump fakes, comes up and under, and you're going to see the goaltending call right there, and a good call.
And against Jackson. 4:36 to play, opening quarter. Championship game. King 1/3. Rock Island is 4th. Sylvester, stop and go. Hughes, a rebound. Reynolds comes up. You know, Chuck Fisher is related by marriage to the Cubs' Mark Grace. Now, Lions looking for a home run in this game, and there's 2 for Tyrone Howard.
Important basket. Tyrone Howard probably play a big role in this game if Central is to be successful.
Sylvester, who fouled out of the quarterfinal game, and the Tigers survived that, runs the point. Jackson's on a roll. He missed that. Chris Reynolds pushes the game. Gives it up. Howard is fouled.
You know, you use the term push the game and use it very, very well and appropriate there, Frank. That's what Chris Reynolds does so well. He's under control, yet he's pushing the ball up the floor. You know, and that's so significant for a guard that's going to set the table for a lot of great scoring from his ball club.
Hughes goes to the corner. Hughes is one of those guys that is inside and outside. He can score from anywhere. And there he is from 3. Nice offensive board. Howard steps in, missed. This rebound, Vincent Jackson. And he's asserting himself more than in any other game of the tournament.
You notice Vincent immediately in this championship affair. We talked this afternoon. We didn't notice him in that ball game.
Sylvester is 5'10". Goes into the block. Conzo Martin.
Notice that guy a lot. He posted up. He wanted the ball. They got it down to him, and it's money in the bank when he gets it that low in the paint.
He came running by against King a few times earlier today, yelling at his teammates 3 in a row.
Well, he's a tremendous leader and only a junior, but he's got great leadership qualities.
3 minutes, first quarter, championship. Howard backs up. White nearly tied up, got free. Charles.
The foul's on Willis, and he's been plagued with foul problems throughout this tournament. White's forcing the issue in here, slashes through 2 defenders, and I believe the whistle was blown on the big guy, Willis.
And they give it to Vincent Jackson. Although White went by Willis. Free throw is down by Charles White.
Charles White may be a young man that is going to have to help the Central cause in this championship affair. We know he's a great shooter.
He gets 41% from 3. We've got an 11-6 Lincoln lead at 2:51 in the first with timeout. Now here's a message from one of your network sponsors, John Deere. The Assembly Hall at Champaign. The Lions got here past Jacksonville, then survived Bloom by 1 and took out Rock Island. The Tigers came through Mount Vernon and then Aurora East and King. Field goal percentage, nearly the same number of shots, but Lincoln's hit twice as many.
A little pressure here at full court by the Lions. They're trying to up the tempo just a little bit, put some heat on, a little double team there, and there's a steal.
First time they put the real heat. Hughes gets the ball, missed the layup. Reynolds eyes, beat a man to the baseline, sends the ball to Howard, who steps in for 2.
Chuck's looking for a little tempo change here. He knows Lincoln has turned the ball over a little bit in this tournament, and he's putting a little double team pressure on the ball out of his man-to-man.
The long suit of the Lions would be their defense.
And yet you know that Chuck's between that rock and a hard place because he's not deep and he worries about foul problems.
Jackson and McKinney, the wing shooters. Willis and Martin on the blocks. That's Jackson. Snap the net.
Yeah, he's on a roll here this evening. Peoria Central's going to have to deal with Vincent Jackson this evening.
He's got 9 to start the game. He averages 21. Hughes fumbled the ball, and quick-handed Charles White got it back.
2-3 zone set defensively by the Lincoln Tigers.
They go down to stay zone, back out to Hughes. Slides in. Mike Hughes.
Nice move by Michael Hughes. Pump fake, drop stepped into the lane a little bit and pulled up and nailed it.
Sylvester. 3-point lead. Keenan White. 1:25 the Tigers in the first quarter. Drop down pass on the block. Conzo Martin missed. Forced on the board. This time, jump ball.
That's a classic matchup there between 2 outstanding basketball players, Michael Hughes for Central and Conzo Martin for Lincoln of East St. Louis.
Possession to Peoria High.
Diamond and 1 press, 3/4 by Lincoln.
And this Lion on a prowl is Chris Reynolds. Goes by 2 men on the right. Stop and pop. Boy, Vincent
Jackson is rising literally to the occasion.
53 seconds. Tigers look inside, and McKinney tries 3. Say zone rebound, the Lions run. Reynolds spins.
There's a chance of the youngster. He knows he can push the ball up the floor. He sees a gap in the defense. He goes ahead and slashes in there and nearly got the ball to go for him. There's Reynolds. He's so great one-on-one. Spin move back into the lane and gets fouled in his field goal attempt.
There's the Tigers coaching staff. Benny Lewis
had a tough afternoon at the free throw line today.
Yes, he did. Got that one on the roll.
The shooter's roll there.
He was really made known nationally by the Nike camp he attended, eye-popping fashion. He got 2 rolls. It's a 1-point game. Well, what do you expect?
We expected this. We're spoiled. We're expecting a classic championship battle for the state title.
Here's a wild pass, and the Central defense turns it over. And now the Lions.
That turnover tendency from East St. Louis Lincoln, Frank.
Chuck Bisher has coached in the championship game before. It was against Springfield Lanphier in '83. Ed Horton, Kevin Gamble in that game won the title.
Outstanding championship ball club.
There's the clock. Ending the first quarter as Reynolds holds and calls set play number 3. Howard at the high. Hughes roams. Inside right through Sazone's hands with 6 seconds. He was on the block.
On the block, wide open. The pass just slipped right through his hand. I think he turned before he really blocked. You know, you like to teach your kids to block, catch the ball. Block it with one hand and gather it in with the other hand. That time it just went right through both hands.
Tigers have time for a shot. 4. Jackson, a 3. Short. Rebound Central. Quarter's over. The first 8 minutes produce a 1-point difference. Lincoln in the lead. Now this from one of your network sponsors, the Illinois Pork Producers. What's the game mean? Watch the face.
Whole season is in a face right there, Frank. Over 100 practice sessions. Lord knows how many miles of scouting. Looking at that final shot right here, that quarter. He's relieved and happy that he's only 1 down, knowing that his ball club did not shoot well in that first quarter.
And the Tigers came out shooting and took an early lead, and there's a near standoff at the end of 1 quarter.
If you're a Lincoln fan, there's an unfortunate timeout to burn. The clock hasn't even ticked 1 second off, and they couldn't get the ball in bounds, and they burned a timeout.
The defense works. We'll be back in just a moment. Right now, let's pause for these messages. East St. Louis Lincoln has lost on this season to Louisville Ballard, Chicago Marshall, and Simeon. And now we start the second quarter. Rico Sylvester on the rise for the J. Doesn't go. Long rebound tip out. Hughes running. 3-on-2. Mike Hughes missed. Rebound and score. Oh, Reynolds was right in there. Central had 3 cracks and couldn't get it done.
Central dominated the offensive board there. Of course, each one of the cracks, as you mentioned, should have gone. It started with Michael Hughes simply blowing the layup shot, and that's not going to happen often.
Next time down on that one, he made dunk it.
Yeah. East St. Louis is going to have to negotiate the press here against Central if they're going to be successful, and look for him to post Conzo Martin up, because that's their bread and butter man.
And Jackson, who actually is listed as a forward, good swing player, he'll come back and help against that pressure. Willis is up at the high post, and Martin low. Martin's a great offensive player. 26-point-a-game average, but a junior. Sylvester, 3. He had 20 against Edwardsville in the sectional, even though he averages 6, but he nailed a big 3 there.
Over and back there, Tyrone Howard caught in the front court, his front court, and as he pivoted, one of his feet went into the back court, and that's a violation. That's one of those unforced turnovers.
There are the turnovers. The Lions have 1 more, and the coaches remember every one of them in a game of this importance.
Well, yeah, and yet you can't hang your hat on any one thing, because it's going to be a combination of things that either win or lose a ball game.
Jackson swirls in and shoots too hard. Saison gets the board. Chris Reynolds looks at that zone of the Tigers. Lincoln by 4. Howard steps in the seam, goes inside. It's Saison stuffed by Willis. Again, it's Howard. Central looking for a hole in that zone. Mike Hughes ducks to the right, now shoots. Hughes saves it, not quite.
The 2-3 zone of East St. Louis Lincoln is employing really packed down tight towards the baseline when the ball goes to a wing. So I think you're going to have to see a Chris Reynolds do a little penetrating into the top of the seam and maybe even taking a few jumpers out there to make him play honest.
What great teams we've seen in this tournament. And the two, they say only the strong survive. These two have.
That posting action, Conzo Martin inside. He kicked it right back out to Chris Reynolds.
He's tough to front.
Yes, he is.
Jackson slides in, scoops it up. And he'll be at the line for 2.
Jackson on a penetration just realized that he had no place to go with the ball. To put a little scoop move on and got fouled. See it being reversed here. Jackson comes in, he sees some traffic, simply scoops it up, trying to draw the foul, and was successful in doing so. Vincent Jackson is very active in the opening half here.
Outstanding athlete. Missed the free throw. Interestingly enough, he shoots field goals and free throws at about the same percentage, 53.
That always amazes me.
1 of 2 there. Lincoln by 5.
Diamond and 1 zone press, a pattern of press from East St. Louis Lincoln.
Central will have to pass the ball crisply and well. Get to the middle.
Now they'll fall back in their 2-3 zone.
Reynolds at the top, Hughes on the wing. The senior leaders. Good D. Hughes got free at the foul line. A pop.
Hughes is doing everything probably identical on each shot. He's pump faking and going to the right. East St. Louis may react to that, and Michael may have to just pull up and shoot a few of them.
Hughes, 6. McKinney tries to answer. Hughes rebound. McKinney shot a long one, squared up well. 3-point game, a 3-point shot by White.
Credit that basket to Chris Reynolds just pushing the ball up the floor and finding Charles White on the perimeter at 3-point range.
The Lions run 5 and tie. Under 5 minutes, first half. Frank Bissoni, Jim Albrecht, Coach Mel Rustio. Hope you're enjoying the action from the famous Assembly Hall in Champaign-Urbana. That's a zone by the Lions. Nice fake by Sylvester. Got his man to leave his feet. Missed the shot. Rebound, Conzo Martin.
Offensive board by Conzo Martin and a bucket.
He's not only in the academic honor roll, he's on everybody's honor roll.
He's an intimidating figure out there on the front of that diamond and 1 press also, Frank. Conzo Martin I'm speaking of.
In last year's championship, he delivered 20 points and 10 off the glass. Hughes, 3. Oh, he followed it. Got it. Stepped in, 2.
Classic point guard operation. Chris Reynolds moved right into the seam of the 2-3 zone, kicked the ball out when the defense responded to him, kicked it out to Michael Hughes. Michael Hughes shot, got his own rebound and scored.
He tries 3 the new way.
That's right.
And now he gets to try 3
old-fashioned
the old way.
And that's just smart basketball. You follow your shot, and usually shooters know if they're a little short.
Peoria Central takes the lead. 4 minutes, first half. The defense never rests.
Reynolds now matched up in a man-to-man for a little spell here.
Martin sets the post. Oh, that's a classic post move. He missed it. Rebound Hughes, and Mike Hughes has been on the board.
Mike Hughes intimidated Conzo Martin just a little bit that time. Made him alter his shot a little bit.
Mike Hughes is a finesse player that can shoot the lights out.
He is, and yet he can post up inside. You know, he's just outstanding. You know, I'm going to make a comment. He reminds me of a lot of people. He runs the floor a little bit like an Ed Horton. But I can remember a guy that played for the University of Illinois when they were playing in Huff Gym. Governor Vaughn, back in the late 50s, mid-50s from Edwardsville, Illinois. Had those types of big person moves outside.
Near steal by the Tigers. Skipped the bounce pass across the court. Chris Reynolds at top. Clock comes to 3 minutes. Reynolds bursts in. Didn't go.
Great penetration.
Sylvester the other way. Rico Sylvester puts a thumb down.
Central changes off from their man back into their 3-2 zone.
Hughes comes in front of Conzo Martin. He gets it anyway, kicks it out. Little triangle. Martin, beautiful.
That's East St. Louis's meal ticket right there. A little triangle set inside to Martin. Martin didn't feel comfortable, kicked it out to the point, then back inside to Martin, and he scores.
He has 8. The Tigers on defense leading by 1. Chris Reynolds. Howard drops the ball down to White, who turns and pops it down.
You know, there's a little man inside with a big man move. White was open at the strong side angle. Martin got it down into him, turned and scored.
7 for Charles White. The Tigers rotate down low. Nice steal by Reynolds, but he kicked it.
Conzo Martin is starting to post now on the left side, drawing some attention from Salzone instead of Michael Hughes. Maybe he's going to try to work on Salzone's side a little bit.
Under 2 minutes now, first half. After an early blast by the Tigers, it's really been tight. Martin sends it outside. Jackson lets fly. A 3, no. Rebound to the Lions.
Might not be a bad move, you know. Salzone's a little bit smaller, less intimidating figure than Michael Hughes, so Conzo Martin moved across the lane to work on the other side against the 3-2 zone of Peoria Central.
Chris Reynolds 0 for 4 in the early going. And holds it. Hughes, little stutter step. There's a spin move. Down it goes.
Great touch. He can adjust his shot while in the air.
He had 36 against Lanphier this year with 17 off the glass. Clock melts to a minute. East St. Louis Lincoln rallied from behind to get here. And now the Lions make a steal. It's Howard. On the fly, Reynolds got it. Rocket Chris Reynolds put it down. And the Peoria crowd stands.
East St. Louis may want to take a little bit of it out of the fans by backing out here, maybe working for the last shot of the half.
They try to go to their money man, Martin.
Yeah. And Martin's on the right side of the floor now as you look in, working Salzone's backside of the zone, and Salzone was over the zone. Excuse me, I'm mispronouncing the young man's name, and I apologize for that. Zone.
It's Cartney Sazone.
Over the back for the foul. Interestingly enough, East St. Louis is not in the bonus.
They send it in. 24 seconds. Chris McKinney. He had 20 in the quarterfinals with a half-dozen assists. Handles the ball, drops it in. Martin's there. Conzo Martin moves inside and gets it down. It's a 3-point game. The Lions can get a shot. It's 8 seconds. Hughes started to go and walk.
I think he was anxious to get the shot off, or eager, I should say, to get the shot off, and he had plenty of time to regroup and gather himself with 6 seconds left on the clock.
4th turnover against Peoria.
St. Louis could tie it here, Frank, with a 3.
Sylvester, lob to Jackson, wants to shoot. He does. It's too short. That's the end of the first half in our championship game. Will it be unbeaten Central, or will it be 3 in a row for the Tigers? It's tied at the half. And now this from one of our sponsors, the Country Companies, proud sponsors of the IHSA telecast since 1972. The last unbeaten champion here was 1981. It was Quincy, and when they closed, it was 33-0. To tie it, the Lions need this one. They're halfway there. They're 3 points ahead, 26-23. And the medals and trophies that will be handed out for the Consolation are on the court at the Assembly Hall. Coach Ruscio, your reaction to the first half?
Well, I thought it was a good first half. Both ball clubs early fell out the tempo and the attitude of the other ball club. I think it's obvious that the two money people on the Peoria Central side of it, it's Chris Reynolds and Michael Hughes doing their thing, and they do it so very well. A little bit more of a perimeter ball club than possibly St. Louis Lincoln. On their side of the slate, it's a Vincent Jackson who's got a hot hand going on the outside, and a Conzo Martin posting up on the inside. So I think at the halftime you got two coaches talking about the things they need to do to go to their bread and butter people.
And think back. The Tigers got here by slicing Aurora East at the gun And Peoria Central survived a one-pointer against Brandon Cole and Bloom. Little things mean so much.
Oh, that means so very much. You know, it's almost like you're destined to be here, but you have to have a break. You know, to get here to the state tournament, to be successful, you have to have two things going for you, Frank. You've got to be very good, and you've got to be lucky at times.
All right, we've got a 3-point halftime lead, and now it's time for presentation of awards. And for that, here's Steve Adams.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to midcourt for the presentation of the 3rd and 4th place team and individual awards for the 1989 Boys Class AA State Basketball Tournament. Presenting medallions to the squad members of the 4th place team will be Mr. Thomas Howard of Fremd High School in Palatine, who serves the IHSA as president of the board, and Dr. David Turner of Porta High School in Petersburg, who serves the IHSA as a member of the board. At this time, please meet the Rocks of Rock Island High School, who finished the season in 4th place with a final record of 27 wins and 6 losses. Here is the principal of Rock Island High School, Mr. Dwayne Bonsall. Head coach, Duncan Reed. Assistant coach, Jim Condon. Assistant coach, Mike Brown. Number 14, Chris Allison. Number 23, Donnie White. Number 45, Brian Jones. Number 44, Shane McGahee. Number 24, Tony Pulliam. Number 22, Rick Kelly. Number 25, Sean McMillan. Number 52, Lamont Wortham. Number 33, Scott Smoll. Number 30, Jack Anderson. Number 20, Wayne Meyer. And number 34, Ed Beasy. Manager, Bryce Amaker. And manager, Eric Lodge. Those are the Rocks of Rock Island High School. And now presenting medallions to the squad members of the 3rd place team will be Mrs. Lynn St. James of King High School in Chicago, who serves the IHSA as a member of the board and is also the principal of King High School. She will be assisted by Mr. Ed Roberts of Oak Forest High School in Oak Forest, who serves the IHSA as a member of the board. At this time, let's meet the Jaguars of Chicago King, who finished the season in 3rd place with a record of 31-2. The head coach of King High School, Landon Cox. Jamie Brandon. Johnny Selvey. Ahmad Sharif. Victor Snipes. Vernon Bird. Jerome Bell. Fred Schofield. Toussaint Stevens. Anton Little. Tommy Cunningham. Damian Porter. Sean O'Quinn. Manager Bernard Crawford. Manager Kurt Thomas. Assistant coach Elmer McCaskill. And assistant coach Benny Parrott. The 3rd place finisher, the Jaguars of King High School. And now for the trophy presentations. Presenting the 4th place trophy will be Mr. Lawrence Stevens of Winona High School in Winona, who serves the IHSA as a member of the board. Will Coach Duncan Reed and the captains of Rock Island High School please step forward to receive the 4th place trophy. And there it is. Congratulations to Rock Island High School, this year's 4th place finisher. And now presenting the 3rd place trophy will be Mrs. St. James, and will Coach Cox and the captains of King High School please step forward to receive the 3rd place trophy. Mrs. St. James. Congratulations to King High School, this year's 3rd place finisher in Class AA.
Congratulations to King and to Rock Island. We've got a 3-point halftime game. Peoria High 26, East St. Louis Lincoln 23. Back with the second half in a moment, right after this from one of your network sponsors, John Deere. At the end of the first quarter, the Tigers led Peoria Central 13-12. But Peoria High rallied to take a 26-23 lead at halftime. And a couple of things that I noticed in the first half, Coach. Mike Hughes not only scored well for the Lions, but he got on the board. The other thing I noticed was Peoria Central's free throw shooting finally got to where Chuck Bisher wanted it to be.
Well, we commented about that on the top of the show and the game this afternoon. They struggle at the free throw line. Certainly Chris Reynolds went there a number of times and missed. So, you know, it's the little things. You know, it's the same game, same elements of this game existed back in November and December that won or lost basketball games, and you can't lose sight of that. Even though it's a championship game for the state of Illinois, it's going to be free throws, controlling the boards, turnovers.
The leader for Peoria High is Chris Reynolds, and we'll come back and take a look at him. We'll take a look at Conzo Martin and all the rest of the Tigers too in just a moment. But right now, let's take time out for this. One of your network sponsors, the Illinois Pork Producer.